Welcome to this beach episode of Roll for Crit. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and yes, as is now tradition, so it is decreed by us today, our episode after GenCon, we're back on the beach, at the beach, down by the shores, the seashore. So you can
totally not a green screen.
not a green screen. You might be able to see vaguely there's a beach behind us, so a little bit of a tropical mix-up for you.
Aloha. No, we're nowhere near Hawaii.
we are in Hawaii. Well, relative to some places, we're near Hawaii. Same country. So this is our first podcast since the end of GenCon. We haven't had one. We're sort of playing catch up right now.
Yeah.
So after this, we'll be back on a regular schedule.
Of course.
So there's some news that we might get to right now that's a little bit dated.
Right, but we hope we didn't leave you hanging for too long. We know how you miss these glorious faces.
We know you did. So we'll start off. Speaking of GenCon, since after we left, they had this big post-show press release thing that they put out, in which we learned that this year was their record-breaking highest attendance.
I heard about that. That's pretty cool.
As was the year before that, before this year. So they had over 60,000, and I think last year was somewhere around 50,000.
Do we know what Essence numbers are? I'm just curious,
I don't
comparatively
offhand.
speaking.
I think at this point it's definitely less.
Less?
Yeah, definitely less than 60,000.
Oh.
Last year I think maybe it was close, but I'm pretty sure this is.
It's very interesting because Essen is if GenCon grows, I'm very curious to see how this.
I think it's getting bigger and bigger.
I mean, it's not much of an
obviously
issue
is,
because it's two different countries. But I feel like it makes me think of with Comic-Con New York versus San Diego. Right. I know New York is getting bigger.
New York is getting bigger, but it's still nowhere close to San Diego.
Well, apparently it's been rivaling it a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe in attendance, they definitely don't have as much space.
No, that's the big issue. But I'm very curious to see how with GenCon and Essen, because unlike this is two different countries.
Well, one thing I didn't know about, I was reading. You know how the football stadium or whatever it is, like right next to the convention center. Apparently, they have that set up so that if need be, there's a connecting path, and they could use that space for the convention as well.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so
dude, outdoor board gaming.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do. I don't know how they would do it, but
I think it's a great idea.
If it gets big enough, it's definitely a possibility.
No, I really do love that convention center. It's such a nice convention center.
And it's confirmed for next year. It will be their 49th convention, August 4th of 2016.
Right.
So mark your calendars now. Do it now. So on to actual news that we missed. First of all, you played the game The Witcher?
I haven't. You did.
I have. Or the video game The Witcher.
Oh, I have played a little bit the first one.
Yeah, they're
long. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to 3.
That's okay. I'm like halfway through the first one. There's a lot of game there. But there was a board game based on it from Fantasy Flight. Now they announced there's going to be an RPG based on the game, which makes probably more sense because it seems like a natural extension.
Well, any kind of the video games I think of, there's video games I think Witcher falls under, in which the designers literally go all out in terms of making the world and backstories and stuff. So making an RPG for any of those games usually is not only is it a smart call, it's usually a much easier one because a lot of the footwork's been done. And
The Witcher also was originally based on a book, actually.
Right?
So I think a series.
Polish.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of lore to dig through.
I didn't know this recently. I learned that apparently Obama, when he visited Poland, they actually gave him a copy of Witcher as a gift.
That's like their greatest export is The Witcher and Portal Games. That's what they have. So that's pretty cool. I was thinking, there's a Dragon Age tabletop role-playing game. I don't think, is there a Mass Effect one? There might be. But really, any of those RPGs make a great...
No, Mass Effect and Fallout, those are the ones we need.
I'm amazed there's no Oblivion one or Elder Scrolls one. Anything like that would be cool.
No, those would definitely be.
We'll see. That's going to come from some company that's good.
I'm still surprised they haven't done a physical version, though, of, I forget what it's called. It's in the third Witcher. The card game.
Oh, yeah, I forget what it's called.
Because I know everyone says that's one of the best parts about Witcher 3.
It's like the Hearthstone of the Witcher or something. Yeah, they might do that. All right, so then after that we've got some film news that I think you're privy to some of, or if not all of it. So first off, we talked about a while ago about the D&D movie.
Yeah, that was
And there was a trial.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers are trying to get the rights and everything. Well, now officially Warner Brothers is moving forward with this new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, thank God.
It doesn't involve the Wayans brothers, as far as we know. But it actually has a screenplay, so we know who's writing it.
Oh, who is?
It's David Leslie Johnson.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not supposed to know who that is.
Okay, good. I was like, oh God, you're looking at me like I should know this.
He wrote film classic Wrath of the Titans, among others. But I think that's probably the closest in comparison you're going to find to a D&D movie. Doesn't raise really high hopes for me, but we'll see. Who knows?
Hey, you know what? At least as long as it's not Ouija.
As long as it's not Ouija. That's
also, we're going to see later from the creators of Ouija.
Yeah.
D&D, no!
From the producers who brought you the Candyland movie. I don't know. All right, and other board game news, even worse than that. Much worse than that.
I don't know what worse means as in, like, information or, like, as in bad news.
Well, bad news bears. Well, as you know...
I think I know where we're going with this.
Sony announced their plans to release, in Christmas of 2016, a reboot of the Jumanji film.
Well, the reason I feel it's bad, for at least from our perspective, is not as much because I don't think Jumanji should be rated as the movie itself. I'm not saying like it's like an amazing classic.
Right.
It's because
I say it is.
Well, no, I mean...
No, I don't know.
like it's not like The Godfather, I'm saying. Like,
it's pretty different.
I think it's because Robin Williams is in it. And to me, like, I don't know, it's been a year and he died right around... Like, it sort of feels like it's...
They didn't even... It was less than a year when they announced this since he's died. So it does feel a little bit like...
Like, that's like, I think the...
Wait a little longer, guys.
As much as I want to reprint the Jumanji game, though.
Right.
That's the only reason I do like this. I'm hoping that we get a good Jumanji reprint, like in a nice box and stuff.
Yeah, it just seems like... I don't know. It's it's the discussion of reboots is so tired.
Well, no, it's not even that. It feels like they're sort of playing on the fact that he's dead. For
like they've been waiting for this moment.
Like
finally, we can take. Well, some
more
money.
like everyone's thinking about Rob Williams. Like, hey, guess what? We're remaking the Jumanji. Like,
right? They're capitalizing.
They're capitalizing. That's what I'm saying, and that's why it seems. I think that's the issue we're having with it.
And also the fact that it's coming out in a little over a year from now, and they just announced it. Like, I don't know if they already have a date. They're like, it sounds like more of a very marketing move rather than actually them wanting to make it a good movie. No. Surprise, surprise. What else is new in
marketing?
Hollywood? Anyway, so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, hey, they made Zathura. Remember that?
I do. I actually saw the book and it's based off of, which is nothing like the movie.
Is it like a picture book? Because the original Jumanji was also, I don't know if it's the same author.
It is. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
It was definitely, it's completely different because they played out much differently. It's really weird.
We'll have a whole episode about that.
But yeah.
Speaking of 2016, it turns out next year is the 15th anniversary of Munchkin.
Oh, wow.
So
congratulations, Munchkin.
They're going to have a whole rollout of stuff. The first thing they announced is starting in January, they're going to have special edition releases of the game with special box art.
Oh,
so one of them will be the artist who does the comics is going to do the box art. Another one is one of the artists, I think, who did the art for the
Are these
Guild.
all for the base one, or would one get Space Munchkin and one get...
one of them is going to be a special Star Munchkin.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Munchkin, yeah.
I might pick, because I know my copy's just ripped and...
Right, or some, if you haven't picked up yet, you might want to check out a different version of it. So that's
now, can we get a Munchkin of Munchkin? Munchkin.
That's a good one, yeah. We've
got Munchkin Gloom, we got Munchkin Smash Up. I think it's time for we approach Munchkin.
Munchkin. I want Munchkin Risk. Munchkin 7 Wonders. Munchkin
Arkham
Horror.
Munchkin Horrors.
Munchkin Chess. Munchkin. Munchkin,
Space Munchkin.
One final thing that I thought was pretty cool that I wanted to talk about, BoardGameGeek. They sent out a thing where you can sign up to start previewing the new version of their site.
Ooh,
And
they heard us.
I did not. I'm not signed up or anything, but they did put up a screenshot that was a preview for people to check out, which we'll put on the screen right now. And here, take a gander at what the future will be. And in my opinion, it's a lot nicer. It's the same. It retains the same basic layout, but much cleaner. Looks much more modern.
It looks like Facebook colors to me.
A little bit. I mean, blue and white.
Well, it's the gray and white, I think,
Oh, yeah.
with blue. But
yeah, I think it's we've said it's long overdue that it will be really nice to have a fresh coat of paint on that site.
I got confused also because I looked outside the screen. I'm like, it doesn't look that different, and I realized that's the old site.
It's within the BoardGameGeek's old site. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see. It'll be nice because people use that website a lot. So I think it's time. It's time for them to take that step up. But that's all the regular news. Why don't we talk about some Kickstarters?
Well, by the time you watch this, it's going to be on a few days. But the really popular game Scoville has Kickstarter for its expansion in the lab, I believe it's called.
Yeah, I think that is what it's called.
Pretty much, you get your own little personal board to grow instead of having just a community garden to grow your peppers. So if someone keeps screwing you over by putting wrong peppers near what you want to grow, you can have your little personal.
It's Scoville Labs.
We're
thinking of pandemic.
Yes, that's why.
But yeah, you have like your own boards, right?
Yeah. That's sort of the main idea. I'm pretty sure it's funded by Now Last I checked.
Oh yeah.
And I know one of the stretch goals actually is one of the things we liked in the same tips you mentioned from their game Harbor, in which there's a card so you can take a picture and post on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook to show that you are the winner.
Yeah, we were talking about that. It's this thing of a game mechanic that encourages you to advertise for their game, in a sense. But I think it's clever and it's fun. I think it's a smart way to market because people want to do it.
We haven't had a chance to play this yet, so I can't tell you how this would affect the game.
Right.
But I mean, I love the idea, and I've heard a lot of good things about the game.
Yeah. People.
But another big Kickstarter, which I found recently that we would probably have talked to earlier, but we were at GenCon, is a game called Lobotomy. What this is you are a patient brought into a mental hospital, and you don't think you should be there.
I've been there before.
It's you make tile maps, and you have different scenarios to fight off different things, but the things you fight off are like all based on, like, they pull from nightmare horror things, or like from either their own nightmares or from, like, you know, actual stories, like what we know. Like, of course, there's a clown thing which is terrifying, like the miniatures. There were some things, like there's like little damned girls, like they look like they're from The Ring kind of deal. And, you know, it looks absolutely terrifying, really cool, because it reminds me a lot of, like, a lot of the video games we like playing, the Fatal Frames, the Silent Hills.
Yeah.
By the way, there are nurses.
It sounded like when you told me about it, Eternal Darkness, maybe.
Yeah. But the big thing I really love, which is that there is an expansion that's Cthulhu, but the base itself is not Cthulhu, and that's what I love. Because I mean, I like Cthulhu. Don't get me wrong, but I think something that involves madness and stuff that isn't directly from Cthulhu, or at least not.
Cthulhu's the hot sauce. Sometimes you don't need it. You add that in later when you want it hot.
And like, what's really
King
cool
of
also,
metaphors.
Like you actually get a mental disease that actually has weird special abilities. Like the aggression. If you have aggression, you're much more an offensive person. If you're like I forget what really untrustworthy, you have a lot of defensive cards that actually reward you for not really helping other people because you don't trust them.
I love it.
Like, and that's really cool. I think the idea they play on different memories, like the actually mental abilities, and the figures look amazing and stuff. And like, I love the theme. I love the horror. I mean, I know how many times I've said, like, between us, not on our video, but how like I want to play like all the horror games together because I love doing like the PT, the Silent Hill, all those, because it's just fun to just be together and just like
screaming with each other in harmony. Yeah, no, there's an old point and click game called Sanitarium that I
heard about that.
That sounded like too, where you're in a mental hospital. But then you went to all the like weird different dimensions and stuff. But anyway, yeah, like you were talking about how it sounds more like the actual horror aspect of it, as opposed to just like horror theme, but you're kind of just fighting people. It gets in your head.
Yeah, like because I think a lot more. It plays a lot more with your head. Like you're supposed to go insane almost.
Right.
Which I think is because they said some things like you may pick up a candy, but is it morphine or something like, or you think a spoon is a knight? Like the idea of like you actually could. It sounds like you could like get confused about items and monsters and stuff around you.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I got a few other Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are so many that we probably missed.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just tried to pick some to give them a chance together.
Yeah, just some brief ones. Most of these are actually pretty new. There's Meat Pillows. Did you see Meat Pillows?
No, I saw that with meeple shirts.
No, they have now. It's meeples as pillows. It's just a pillow shaped like a meeple. Different colors, looks pretty cool. I actually think it's like $20 for one, but the more you get, the cheaper they get. So like you can get like 3 for like $50 or something like that. And they seem like nice pillows. If you want some meeple pillows, check out Meat Pillows.
I keep hearing meat pillows.
Ooh,
so I just imagine just like a big thing of steak just like on your head, like nice and cold.
That sounds like something from Lobotomy. Also, there's a new printing of Hostage Negotiator.
Right, I saw that.
That's a game that was just out solo only that we talked about on the show.
You got that the first part.
Yeah. So if you didn't get a chance to pick it up, I'd encourage to check it out this time.
That reminds me, I should mention with the Scoville one, you can't pick up the base with the expansion. So it's not just for people who missed out.
Good to note. Always good when they do that. A couple other cool ones that are new. Button Shy Games, the people who do wallet-sized games. So we have the ones Pretense and the Movie Plots. They've kickstarted them all, and they have a couple others. They have a new one that's 3 in one Kickstarter.
Ooh.
And one of them is a bluffing game, one is like a storytelling game, and one is like it's like a virus doctor medicine thing. All wallet-sized, 18 cards per game. You can get all 3 for $20, or you can get their entire collection of 7 for $50.
That actually reminds me. I'll wait until you go through a Kickstarter that ended.
That's pretty much it. I recommend it because we've had other games.
This one ended. I just backed it at the end and they brought up a very interesting point, which is why I want to bring it up. It's from the guys who do Compound.
Compounded?
Compounded.
Got it.
Sorry. It's I forget the name of it, but it's about whaling.
On the moon?
No, not whaling on the moon. But like you can get different whales and bring them in to process them and stuff and.
Wait, what? You're like killing the whales?
Yeah, like it's actually
whaling. Right. I kind of got that, but I didn't process it like the whales.
But it was very interesting because they did the video. They explained because it's all about the history, the actual. I forget the name of this. The city. The city used to be like the.
Sounds like PETA might have some problems with this.
Well, they literally talk about like, look, we're not.
Comes with real whale meat.
We're not doing this because we're supporting whaling. Like, but this is a big historical moment in history. We think it's sort of something that
that's cool.
Bring up and should cause discussions and stuff. I'm like I like that idea. And I think
historical.
And what I bring
relevance
because it sort of reminds me. I think we've talked about this on the show already. The idea of like is something taboo.
Yeah, we have a whole discussion on that, like such as letters from Whitechapel.
And I think that's a really cool idea to bring up and talk about with your table because I think that's what you should be talking about with your group.
Yeah.
So I applaud them for it. I think it's an interesting idea because also that hasn't been done. One of the reasons I backed it too because they had a special promo for the white whale, Moby Dick.
That one, now I remember.
But yeah, I think it was a really cool idea from them. And the fact that like Compounded came first at this. I like the fact they're trying to hit these sort of either talking or education games.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting instead of just the usual. As much as we love the usual Cthulhu or shooting game.
Right. I think we definitely gravitate a lot towards those the unique themes. Speaking of which.
Oh, boy.
The other one that I thought looked really cool, Kickstarter recently, was called Prime Time. Where,
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, everybody is running a TV network.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get the best ratings, and you actually get to pick which shows you air, and they have some really funny like parody cards of different shows, and you like schedule them for different days of the week, and you try to win awards and stuff. I love that. That's great.
Just imagine there has to be a card like, I think, was it like Fox, if anything moves to Thursday, it's doomed?
Oh, yeah. Like, they're like, on a, Usually Friday nights.
Friday nights. Because I just remember when we watched Fringe got moved there. Yeah. So like they even joked on the commercials like the end of Fringe.
Yeah, or like Hannibal. Just recently they just pushed it to Saturdays because it's like because nobody watches TV on Saturday night except for us. But so that's that. Yeah, that seems really fun. I love that concept a lot. And there's another one that I almost forgot to mention. It's almost like half news. Bezier Games has another addition to the One Night family.
I think that's still up as of this recording.
Think it is, yeah.
As of this recording. Very important.
Yeah, One Night Ultimate Vampire.
Right.
Which is the standalone, or you can mix it, and you can even combine and have like an ultimate like vampires versus werewolves versus.
So can we get a One Night Ultimate Frankenstein monster? One Night Ultimate
Yeti. Mummies, ultimate mummies. I think they're gonna head there eventually, right? It seems like that's the way it's going.
One Night Ultimate Jonathan.
Yeah, so lots of Kickstarters, lots of good stuff that you should definitely look at. I kind of thought it'd be fun to, I don't know, anything that we've played recently we might to talk about because we played Cthulhu Realms last night. We haven't talked about that in the show.
A really interesting, in the best of ways, I think, in addition. But before we go there, I want to talk about the game we did before that.
Okay.
Which is a very polarizing game.
Oh, right.
Bunny Moose Moose.
Yeah, Bunny Moose Moose from legendary designer Vlada Fatil, whose name I can't pronounce, no one can, who did Space Alert as well as party games like Pictomania. Mm-hmm. And he has one Bunny Moose Moose, which is a very silly card game in which players are making antlers or bunny ears to imitate certain cards.
To get points and move your thing up.
Yeah.
It was definitely a kind of game either you love it, you're drunk, or you hate it.
Yeah.
And we had all three when we were playing it.
Yeah, it was definitely polarizing. I don't know if I expected, because I feel like, I don't know, because Pictomania was also pretty polarizing in our group. But
no, not in the same way.
I feel like much more, that's a more, you can say, it's like Pictionary. It's a fairly, you can compare it to something. Mm-hmm. Bunny Moose Moose is really, there's nothing else like
remember
that.
When earlier when our friend said, so what's this game genre? Like, what's it fit? And you're just like, party?
Yeah, that's all I could come up with. It's like completely different. But I mean, I definitely had fun with it. I'm happy that we have a copy.
No, I thought it was really fun. First of all, this is definitely a game to get when people are drunk.
Yeah.
This game is just so good. And we played the basic. That's not including, like, there's a tongue sticking out rule, you said.
Yeah, we did, and there's more advanced cards.
Like, can you just imagine playing with people who are just, like, smash, just,
I also think there might be some nuances of, like, finding a spot between. Sometimes people went too fast or too slow with dealing the cards
that's the thing.
out.
I actually think there is a strategy.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was actually thinking, we actually realized that we made a mistake because the winner...
Right.
Because the points move your moose or your bunny, depending on which one you did,
you
up
have
a
two
track.
pieces on the board.
Yeah. And you get whoever's second place token
is furthest
ahead wins. So you don't want to just focus on the moose.
Right.
And what actually happened earlier is there were more moose points on the field. So we all copied the moose. But for us, we actually would have wanted to copy the bunny to move our bunny up.
It sounds so funny explaining it.
But no, it actually, I think it's a party game, but there actually was strategy.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you're the one reading, there's like a guy who's the narrator each turn. Like, you can increase the speed or lower it to sort of try to trick people.
Yeah,
and
it's interesting. And I would be curious to watch people who know what they're doing, so to speak, play it to
know what they're doing.
To see if there's, like, how, like, or if there's a demonstration video, like, how they actually play it, like, because it's a lot of it feels very open to interpretation. Anyway, but that was interesting.
No, he shows his designing.
Yeah, I mean,
like, sure, it's a party game, but you can see
his mechanisms are there.
His fingers.
He's like the Vincent Price of design. I don't know.
But Cthulhu Realms, if you don't know, is from Tasty Minstrel. It actually was pretty much someone played Star Realms. They liked it, but they wanted to do some changes. Kept making changes, and that's how Cthulhu Realms came out.
And we talked about it a little bit in one of our GenCon videos.
But now we got to play, and it really, like, because we went into it thinking, okay, we played Star Realms. We don't need to read anything about it, the rules. I'm sure, like, 1, 2 things.
Right.
It was completely, like, we were shocked about some of the things.
Well, the first thing that we thought was really cool is rather than having one line of cards you can buy from as in a normal deck building game.
If you play with multiple, I put 3 out between each player.
So for example, if there's 3 of you, and say if we're sitting in this order and one person's over here, there's one line that the 2 of us can buy from, and then there's another line I can buy from and this guy can buy from, but you can't buy from this one
Correct,
over
and that's
here.
really interesting because there are times I see things like, oh, that's so good. Like,
yeah, it definitely adds a wrinkle to it that I really like, that I had never even considered to do. That I'm like, almost, if we were to play Star Realms, I might want to do that in Star Realms.
No, we were talking about, like, even outside Star Realms, DC deck building
game, yeah.
Because I think that what that does is that it makes much more a bigger strategy in terms of managing your stockpiles of what you can buy. Like, you can be like, in a situation, if we did more than 3, in 3, it sort of works out. But if we had 4, so there's one person I can't even interact with at all.
Right.
I could be like, okay, he's collecting equipments, but the equipments are on my side, so I don't need to worry about them. Compared to the regular 5 card, like, oh, I got to buy that equipment up.
Yeah. That definitely creates more. It just makes it. I mean, anytime there's a deck building game, anything even small that changes things up, I appreciate. And
another thing, I mean, we did mention this before, and I think we just loved it even more. Just the artwork. And
the artwork is
the silliness just makes it. It's just great. So amazing.
And I loved the fact that the scoreboard, your health, was an actual board with a marker rather than cards. Much easier to keep track of.
Now let's talk about the one we need to look up this because we're not even sure. Because we may not have been in the most correct mental state while playing.
we were a little intoxicated.
Apparently, when you play an attack, you attack both your neighbors.
I don't know.
Like, I don't want to reread, but like, if that's true, that changes a lot of the way it plays.
Rules. Like, typically in Star Realms, you choose one person to attack. We think maybe you attack both people simultaneously with the same attack. I don't know if that's true or not. We didn't play that way, but it seemed like something in the rules alluded to that.
Yeah.
So you'll have to tell us how stupid we are if we did it wrong or right.
Well, we're going to play it again.
I feel like I don't feel stupid about how we did it because that is how Star Realms is done. It makes sense.
Well, here's my next question to you. How do you feel about, because Star Realms, you've played both.
Yes.
Star Realms has 4 groups, and they decided to bring it down to 3. What were your thoughts on that?
It didn't negatively or positively impact the experience, in my opinion. It was just...
Well, for me, I liked it more. Yeah. Because I felt like I was able to trigger all 3. Like, I can have cards of all 3 while still having fun with them. Like, in Star Realms, I feel like there's plenty of times like, I could buy that blah, but I have no blah. Like, I didn't feel nearly as bad compared to this game. What was really I liked was buying cards that had been removed from the game.
That was another really interesting thing.
Because you and me both got a card early on to do that, so we just started like...
Yeah, because normally like, oh, I'll get rid of this from my deck or from the field so no one can buy it, but then someone else can take it
Well, later. No, even then, then it's like what happened with me, it was like, I'm removing this so I can get it later. Because I knew I had the card or get removed card.
Yeah, that's just pretty ingenious, yeah.
No, it was a real, like, I thought it was definitely... It wasn't just Star Realms with a different skin. Like,
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about I thought was really interesting from a design perspective is the fact that the cards are no text. They're just symbols.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting thing because it definitely causes a lot of confusion among us.
I think it's interesting, and just it's not even specific to this game. In general, there's always a point, I feel, where text on a card... It's not as pretty as...
Oh, no. These were glorious, the pictures. Like, because then we got these full art things that are also hilarious. Like, the deep one, if you recall. You just see a deep one with a rod, so it goes down. At the end of the rod is a sandwich. He's like, and the other one's like, you idiots.
Yeah. And even, like I feel like anytime... If you look at a card, show somebody a card, do a game, and they see too much text, they get scared.
Well... that reminds me, if we look at, I think Legendary's done this, Magic the Gathering has done this, Force of Will has done this, promo cards in which the box where the text isn't there, so you get a full piece of artwork.
Yeah.
The text is sort of on it, so you can read, but the idea is that you already know what it does.
Well, like, to me, like, the best cards in the world are, like, Sushi Go, where all the info you need is clear and right there. But then the problem comes in when... which we kind of experienced in Cthulhu Realms,
is understanding what the symbols mean.
If it's too vague, you're like, wait, what was this, and how do I do that? So yeah, it's an interesting middle ground. I think Cthulhu Realms, that might be a point of contention for a lot of people, whether they prefer that or not.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how. Like, I like the way it is, but I could.
I think it's one of those things. It's hard to start off with. That's the thing with symbols.
Right.
Like with words, you can read.
When you've played it a few times, then you have no problem.
And you'll recognize certain cards, like the yellow sign.
Yeah.
God, I wish I got that card. That was doing so well for you.
Yeah, the yellow cards were good for me. But anyway, we really liked it.
Yeah.
And we like Bunny Bunny Moose Moose. Any other pressing issues to discuss? I think we hit a bunch of the good stuff.
No, at this point,
happy to be home.
We're glad we'll be going back to more of our regular schedule.
And we're here this weekend to hopefully play through more of our games we got at GenCon, so we can talk about them,
including
more
some
depth.
old ones. So if you've been following our Instagram, we tried our hands at Arkham Horror, which ended poorly. But we have plenty of other games we're going to try out. I'm really excited to try out. You brought Rattle Battle,
Grab the Loot. Super excited.
I want to actually bring up how you told me there's a paragraph in there that actually says, "This is a dice game. Please don't get mad at us for the random bad rolls."
I gotta tweet that out because it's so great. Yeah,
it makes me laugh. And in my mind, just because of how I am, that makes me want to play more. Because I usually, whenever something gets random, and in fact, if it annoys someone that's random, I like that.
It makes you feel better. It's like, oh, they care. They care.
Yeah, not just I just knowing that someone else might get annoyed at randomness is always just
you
funny.
Just like other people's pain.
Well, it's not just general pain; it's the idea of random pain. It's just so funny. Like I always love
sociopath.
No, because I like when we're playing any kind of the D&D games, and just an amazing roll or a shit roll. Both ends are hilarious. Just like, and what do you roll? Okay, you not only did you shoot the arrow through the first zombie, it bounced off the wall, hit the other zombie. It was so good. Or in the other case,
it bounced back and hit you in the face.
Yeah. Or in the other case, we've had situations like, oh, roll. And I think it was with you, like, oh, I've got this. You didn't get a single passing die. Yeah. You tripped and fell and broke your leg.
Exactly. Well, you know what you really got to do? Roll for crit. Which brings it all around. Hey, if you want to let us know how you feel about the games in this episode, the news, or you want to suggest something you want to hear us talk about, questions, comments, we would really love to hear it. Actually, we should have gone over it. I'm sure there's probably a bunch of YouTube comments. We'll make time next episode to definitely go over YouTube questions and comments because some have piled up since last time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. You can leave a comment, as I said, on YouTube, or you can email us. We're rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, you can also reach us at Twitter @rollforcrit or our personal Twitters. And if you want, you may be watching this on BoardGameGeek.com, in which you can leave a comment there.
Yeah, give us thumbs, give us whatever.
And we'll try our best to respond to you as well.
Yeah, we will. And of course, you can always visit us at rollforcrit.com, where we sell lots of the games we talked about today, including Cthulhu Realms.
Yeah.
Not Bunny Bunny Moose Moose, but not yet. But maybe we will.
You can buy this, but not this. But maybe not.
Check, see what we have. Plus all our other videos and podcasts there for your pleasure and perusal. Until next time, though, I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been Roll for Crit.